Today we'll be talking about G protein coupled receptors, also known as GPCR. So a few facts about G protein coupled receptors. The first one being that these receptors allow the passage of water-soluble hormones into the phospholipid bilayer of the membrane of the cell. When these protein receptors are signaled by these given hormones, they generate second messengers within the cell. And these second messengers can be cyclic AMP or IP3 and DAG. Different subunits also produce different second messengers. These second messengers play a large role in activating different cellular proteins to bring on a cellular response. And G proteins also exist as 3 different monomers. The first one being the alpha, the second one being the beta, and the third one being the gamma. The 2 G protein subunits we're going to focus on today are the alpha S and the alpha Q subunit. So the alpha S subunit has an effector that is called adenylyl cyclase, also known as AC. When the G protein dissociates and binds to adenylyl cyclase, this activates adenylyl cyclase. And the adenylyl cyclase then goes on to produce cyclic AMP, and then the cyclic AMP goes on to activate protein kinase A, and then when this protein kinase A is activated, it goes on to activate other proteins in the cytoplasm of the cell that will bring on the cellular response, and this response can be anything such as increased heart rate, dilation of blood vessels, and many other responses. So now to move on to G protein subunit alpha Q. This subunit has an effector that is called protein phospholipase C, which can also be called PLC for short. So PLC is bound in the phospholipid membrane of the cell, and it actually breaks down one of the membrane phospholipids known as PIP2 into inositol triphosphate, which can be called IP3 for short, and also diacylglycerol, which can be known as DAG for short. The IP3 goes down in the cell and binds to the receptor on the endoplasmic reticulum, which then releases calcium into the cytosol. And this can also bring on a cellular response from the calcium. And then the DAG actually stays in the membrane, the phospholipid membrane of the cell. And this goes on to activate protein kinase C. And protein kinase C can be called PKC for short. And then this PKC actually phosphorylates, which means adding a phosphorus group to other cell proteins, which then go and activate. This activates the proteins, and this leads to a cellular response as well. I will now draw an example of how G protein coupled receptors work with an alpha S subunit. Last but not least, I'm going to draw an example of how G protein coupled receptors work with an alpha Q subunit.